Alright guys, welcome back to this video, and in today's video I'm going to show you the exact content system that generated $3 million in the last 8 months for my clients. And the thing is, the reason behind this video is that I see so many people online, so many creators online that boost a lot of different sets of content, but I hope that their reason for creating content is eventually to make money on the platform, to make money through Instagram and make money with social media, right? They want to monetize the audience through their content. And I see so many people doing it wrong. And so in today's video, I'm going to actually show you the exact funnel we used to generate over $3 million in the last 8 months. And before we do that, I want to actually set the tone here, because if you're watching this video, you're probably in the following situation. You're posting consistently and you might get some engagement from what you're posting, right? But the booked calls, the thing that actually creates monetization for your audience, is inconsistent. So some months are 3 calls and the other are 10. And every month it's basically starting over from 0 because it's so unpredictable. And you got a hand of the creation of content, so it feels productive. The revenue doesn't follow the same pattern. And when you're creating content and a content creator for info coaching, for instance, you're either one of these two situations. So situation A is with the mindset of giving as much value as possible. So the viewer gets value and leaves feeling good, but they never book a call. They just come back next week for more free value. So what you've built is basically a free course. Your audience studies it and then they don't buy from it. So what that means is you've become the helpful free value guy. So you think that, all right, if I push out so much value, so much free value, my client or my audience will think, wow, this is so good. Imagine what the paid stuff will look like, right? But the thing is that you gave away so much value that they can just continue without you because they implemented your value, it worked, and it fixed their problem, right? They got some value out of it. They might liked it or shared it or saved it. They used it, and sometimes it worked and other times it didn't work. But the thing is that they don't need you because you post enough value for them to feel satisfied. So giving as much value, situation A, and then situation B, I just post for views. So you post cool edits, you get 5K views with 30 likes and 10 shares, but 0 followers, 0 DMs, and 0 calls. And every time you post value content, you get 600 views and think, well, at least the edits got some views, so let's go back to that. And that resulted in that you've become obsessed with the wrong metric. And I see so many people just posting aesthetic content and posting cool formats and cool edits. And although they got engagement and although they got likes and shares and saves and comments and views, it's never from the right eyeballs. So it's never from the right, you want to create attention, of course, but creating the wrong attention or creating cheap attention, so dopamine scrolls, is not the right way for content. And 9 times out of 10, a talking head is, of course, production-wise, way more efficient than an edit, because you have to pay an editor, or otherwise, if you do it yourself, it's at least 2 hours. So the talking head, the value talking head, is more efficient production-wise, and it creates more if you do it right. If it creates more for your business eventually, but you have to stick through that measly period of 600 views per video, and we've all been there, right? The simple thing is that you don't have to be singular in your content, right? Because you need to post a variety of content, because every content piece has its own goal. And if you actually split it up in the 4 content pieces I would make, is that you can actually funnel it. So this is basically the top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel sort of content funnel. And so you want to post reach. Let me take this one here. So you want to post reach content, which is your cool edits, then authority content, pain content, and then mechanism content. And that will lead people through your funnel and eventually book a call, which is the goal of every funnel, right? To get them to close on a call. 9 times out of 10, you book people on a call and then you close them on the sales call. Maybe you piff in DMs, whatever. But that's the most basic funnel. And if you're just starting out, I would suggest just cutting out the reach part, because now the algorithm works in a very interesting way that if someone is already interested in your product, like someone is already interested in buying an e-com coaching, for instance, right? B2C. The thing is that they're probably already on an algorithm. They've seen the edits, they've seen the lifestyle, the top of funnel, and now they're so deep in the algorithm that they're already at the bottom of funnel or middle funnel content pieces, right? So authority, mechanism, or pain. And the thing is that you can just cut out, because you don't have to reach as many people. You just want to reach the people that are already in that algorithm. And because you produce these types of content, you specifically attract the right eyeballs. And so basically, if you're starting out, you can just remove the reach part, because it's not worth your time, right? And like I said, every content piece has its own goal, right? You want to post reach content to get new eyes on you and the broad topic, like we just said here. Authority content is proves you know what you're talking about and fixes a specific problem. So you want to implement authority everywhere you go in all the content, right? Because eventually you need to know more than me about a certain topic in order to get me to buy from you. That's basically, that's common knowledge, right? Why would I buy from a homeless dude and ask him to get me business advice? That's reverse psychology. That's not how it works. So basically, authority is a massive thing here. And then everyone who wants a certain problem fixed has pain on that certain problem. You want more customers, and you have pain that you don't have a lot of calls because revenue is inconsistent, and that's pain. So you want to name the problem so specifically they feel seen. And most importantly, you never want to give a solution. You never want to be the situation A kind of guy where you give so much value that they can just move on without you and basically leverage your value for free. That's not how you want to position yourself. And the bottom one is the actual mechanism. And you want to make this, I have another video on this, which you can check out. Basically, the mechanism is something so tangible, your offer being so tangible, your solution, your transformation. It needs to be presented your specific way of solving the problem, solving this pain, right? And obviously it points to a call. But the thing is that a mechanism is, you need to have a unique mechanism, because if we scream out that we all use, for instance, the profile funnel or whatever, that's not unique. And it belongs to your unique mechanism actually belongs to you, right? Because it's a solution that is provided by you. And it's so tangible, you want to make it tangible, you want to have it, actually name it, and you want to write out the specific steps. And every client result, every testimonial, you want to tie it back to your unique mechanism. So basically what you have is, you have authority, then you have pain, and the mechanism is basically, you want to get people from A to B, and the mechanism is the transformation, the mechanism is the bridge. And you want to promote situation B to the people in situation A. So the people with the preferred result, you want to promote the preferred result to the people in situation A with the pain, and the mechanism is always the bridge from A to B. Understand? And so when you look at these types of content, right, you post random content, you post random edits or just random value content, it results in an informed audience and lacks a clear path to conversion, and it generates no calls. But if you produce architected content, it attracts a smaller targeted audience, your ICP, and it produces consistent calls. And so how would this look like in a funnel form? Well, for instance, number one, very, very specific, is that it starts before you even produce one single type of content, right? You just don't grab the camera and start yapping about your offer or your client results or whatever. You want to specifically name your offer and have it very clear. You want your offer very clear, your ICP very clear, and most importantly, and this is very vague for a lot of you guys, positioning. You want to position yourself in a certain way in your market that makes you unique. And your mechanism ties back to that. So making yourself unique is also your mechanism, right? Because the way you position yourself is the way you actually make yourself stand out. And there's numerous ways to do that, which I won't bore you with today, but I have another video coming up explaining every single detail. But positioning is really important, and a lot of people get that wrong. Now, so once you have that very clear, you want to be able to dream this, right? You want to have it so vivid that there's no question about it, that it's so clear to you, and only then can you leverage content in order to target the right ICP, offer the right mechanism based on your positioning. So now let's get to actually leveraging content in order to get people to pay you money, right? So first, in order to leverage content, 9 times out of 10, people follow a customer journey, and almost always they land on your profile. So you want your profile optimized. You want to optimize your profile with client results, your story sequences, so the pin sequences, right? The pin stories, basically the highlights, bio, and a clear CTA to get them to DMs. And especially for small audiences, you want to make it as clear as possible. So adding more stuff and making it aesthetic is actually the wrong way of looking at it, because you want to make it so clear and easy for them to take action. That's basically how you should look at your profile. So if someone lands on your profile, they have no clue what you do. So you want to make it as clear and simple as possible what you do, who you're for, and how they can reach you, right? Then second, you want to push out your first content pieces. And like we just said, there's various ways, various types of content, and every single one has its own goal, right? So reach content, authority content, paying content, and mechanism content is 4 types we discussed earlier. And you could use, I'm not a big fan of reach content. If you want to do it, make it personal. So make it about your personal story, make an edit about your personal story. 9 times out of 10, it'll get a lot of views and followers, because people buy into people. So if you have an interesting story, people buy into people, stories, and momentum, right? So if you have a hero story, we all watch movies, we all watch Iron Man and Superman and whatever, because they all have a hero story. They started from a nobody and eventually became somebody, and that's the only way I would position reach content. With reach content, you want people to get to know you. You don't want anything else. You don't want a CTA. You don't want anything else. You just want people to get to know you, get attention, and get new eyeballs. And then for authority, pain, and mechanism content, it's based around a specific problem or your unique mechanism. Break it down in a case study, for instance, or just be able to show your authority or go in on a certain pain that your audience is having. And then you can actually CTA them to a lead magnet. For those of you who don't know what a lead magnet is, if you, for instance, CTA and call to action them, they get a small information, small value, but they have to take action in order to get it, right? So they have to comment something or DM you with something. So that's either a video or a Loom, for instance, or a VSL. And you can structure your lead magnets in order to nurture them even further and eventually convert them even further down your funnel. And we'll get into that a little later, how to structure lead magnets. But once you get lead magnets based on the content you produce, you get set conversations, right? You get people into your DMs and you can now actually chat with them. So actually message them and have a conversation with them. And your goal in these types of conversations is to find pain points, provide value. So find pain points, provide value, and educate on the offer. That's basically the sort of funnel you want to use. Basically the 3 simplest steps. Because you have such a clear ICP, and basically 9 times out of 10, you don't have one ICP, you have multiple. So for B2B, it's most of the times it's business owner doing low revenue a month, high revenue a month, and really high revenue a month, and basically different business types, right? And for B2C, it's a student, someone in a 9 to 5, or someone who's doing a different kind of entrepreneurship, for instance, and you want to help out, or they want to grow. And because you have this so vivid, you can actually produce lead magnets based on your ICP. And that's really cool, because now you can actually focus on their pain points. So the pain points you identified in this set of conversation, now you can send a lead magnet based on those pain points. So in the lead magnet, and that's what I said with lead magnets, can be structured to nurture and even convert them further into your funnel, because you structure them based on your ICP. So you can really touch those pain points and really provide value where value needs to be provided in order to get people to convert even further, because you lay out the exact game plan from their situation to their preferred situation. So, and that's based on their situation. So their exact situation, their exact pain points, their exact daily habits or whatever. for instance, a 9-to-5er, you want to approach them really differently than someone who is a student, for instance, right? And so you can send them ICP formatted lead magnets. And basically what I said is a VSL or a breakdown video or a Loom. And you also, if possible, you want to refrain from using anything they can use without you. So a list, for instance, I see a lot of guys in ecom coaching giving them product lists, or here's the sheet I used for my profit breakdowns, or some sheet or whatever, but they can simply just use it without you. So they got value from it and they can thank you for it and then leave you, right? That's not the way you want to approach a lead magnet. A lead magnet is to get them closer to you and actually get them to take action. From there, it's just another part of the funnel. So don't give them the value, something they can use without you. And then based on if you structure your lead magnets the right way, you'll be able to book a call because you educate them on the offer. Provide value is basically the lead magnet, right? Provide value is the lead magnet. And then once they react on the lead magnet, you educate them on the offer. And you don't have to do this all by yourself. You can leverage a setter to do it. You can do outreach, and for low ticket offers or small audiences, probably need a flat fee. And basically the setter will just take care of all of this. You just have to take care of the lead magnets, right? And actually recruit them and educate them on your offer. And for instance, for very small offers, you will always want to sell them on division. So when recruiting, you always want to identify what their goals are. For instance, for low ticket offers or small audiences, you won't probably get a player setter, or you need someone who still wants to prove himself. That's basically the only thing I will look at. Quality wise, you won't get the best of the best. For instance, for small audiences especially. So sell them on a vision. Sell them how your offer or you can actually help them achieve that goal. So that's basically sales, right? And then the KPIs you want to track is reply rate, inbounds, outreach, qualified booked calls, and the quality of the calls. Because booking someone is very easy. You can always say, yo, let's hop on a call and discuss this, but you get very cold calls. You want to get them in the right state of mind. That's the only goal. So with setter conversations, you want to actually get them in the right state of mind and then get them on a call. So that's the quality of calls, qualification of the calls, right? And then what I want to talk about, and then we'll cut it off because I bored you for too long, is the actually nurture sequence towards the call. So once you book the call, 9 times out of 10, it's based on a emotion. So it's really impulsive, 9 times out of 10, with B2C especially. So once they book a call, you can't just sit back and wait for them, because then they'll no show and then you're guessing what went wrong. And very common mistake again is don't let them book more than 5 days in advance. And 5 days is a lot already. If possible, you want to get them on a call as quick as possible. Most of the times it's 3 days. 5 days is the maximum, the absolute maximum. Don't get them on a call 5 days in advance, because the likelihood of them no showing increases by the day, if that makes sense. It's less vivid and people don't care anymore, and booking a call is 9 times out of 10 an impulsive decision. Emotions change and they're not ready anymore. Referring back to that state of mind, you want to keep them in that state of mind, because they made a decision. Of course, it's impulsive. They made a rational decision by actually booking the call. So they know it could possibly work, but you want to constantly reframe the call, right? You want to give them results, give them more value, and follow up daily or bi-daily, depends on how many days you have. You want to follow up with them, keep them warm, and send more results, send more testimonials, and email them. B2C, this is very important. You want to email them again and again, also with results and testimonials. So you want to keep them warm and keep them on the right state of mind, in the right state of mind. And then basically you have the sales call and you can close them. So that's basically how I would leverage this funnel and leverage content in order to get people to actually pay you. And basically with this funnel, you can get 9 times out of 10, a 1-call close and 70 to 80% closing rate. That's normal KPI for this funnel. We've used this numerous of times, got us 3 million, generated 3 million in the last 8 months. Numerous of times it was people starting out, someone didn't even have a coaching offer to begin with, and we still collected $160,000 in 60 days. So that's really impressive. It is possible with this funnel. The thing is with creating content is positioning matters more than the value you actually have. So what I said earlier, people buy from people buy from stories, and people buy from momentum. So you want to actually be unique, and unique people get the most attention, and getting the right attention is the most important thing to do here. You need to be able to create attention first in order to convert attention, if you know what I mean. So that's basically all I wanted to discuss today. I hope you have a nice day. And if you have any questions, you can just DM me, leave a comment. Doesn't matter. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video.